And today we wanted to talk with you about a phrase, don't take a chance, prepare in advance, and what that means. And, it's so easy to, when people are expecting a baby, there's so many things on their mind. It's easy to let things, take it as it comes. But one of the things that we know from years of working with new and expecting families with dogs is that preparing in advance makes a world of difference, a huge amount of difference, especially when it comes to sleeping arrangements. It is recommended that newborns, my understanding, Bethany, correct me if I'm wrong, that babies are in the parents' bedroom for the first 6 months. And often families have their dogs sleeping in their room. And so this can create some concern and conflict, in my view. Having your dog in the room with a newborn can be what I consider unsafe because there's absent supervision while you are sleeping. So we want to not take a chance. We want to prepare in advance with what's going to work to create safe sleeping arrangements when you have a newborn and a family dog, right? Is that what you think of when you
Absolutely.
hear this?
Absolutely. And, you were referencing, I believe the American Academy of Pediatrics
Yep,
recommends that babies sleep in the room with the adults. I think they say for at least the first 6 months,
I think so too.
um, so that you can respond to them effectively and quickly as they need care through the night. And Jen, you referenced one of our handouts, the supervision handout, when you mentioned absent supervision, because sleep really is absent supervision. You're not able to be aware or awake. You don't see what's going on. And we have to remember that, especially with newborns, there's no familiarity bond between the dog and the baby. The dog, during this initial homecoming
Yeah.
phase, is just trying to get used to all these new changes and sounds and routines. And so, having management in place, having success stations in place where your dog doesn't have to be right on top of everything, but can observe it from a distance is really, really important.
And
And
having a
so,
plan, having a
exactly,
plan, because what we don't want and what can happen, but what we don't want is your dog to be the first responder. So when your baby makes noises in the middle of the night and say you are sleeping soundly, we hope, we don't want your dog to be the one that responds and goes and checks out and investigates. We want you to be responsive. And so we really need to find what the plan is. And if your dog is loose in the room, they have access to the baby. So we need to talk about ways to have safe inclusion where it's going to be comfortable and safe for everybody. And we refer to that as success stations. And it's so important that you develop whether there's going to be a crate, an X pen, a tether, the dog's going to sleep outside of the room. What is it going to look like? And practice that ahead of time. So, don't take a chance, prepare in advance is all about thinking ahead. What are you going to do? And how are you going to make this most comfortable by practicing it with plenty of time ahead of time so that your dog is comfortable with it? Because the last thing we want you to go through is, you bring home your newborn, you're already tired, you go to bed, you know, and now you have your dog and you think, oh my goodness, I don't feel safe or comfortable with my dog in the room with the baby, with the newborn. Remember, babies are vulnerable. You're going to feel differently about your dog. Believe me, you do feel a little bit differently about your dog when you have your newborn. Now you're looking at your newborn and your dog and thinking, uh-oh, this doesn't feel good. So your automatic response is to kick your dog out of the bedroom if they have not been exposed to a new and different sleeping arrangement. This is going to make for a very stressful time for you. We want to help prevent that. So that's why we say don't take a chance, prepare in advance, make sure that you practice whatever it's going to look like once baby arrives, right, Bethany?
yeah. And I will say, quite a few of the clients I've worked with, the dogs don't even want to be there when there's a baby crying. They would like to be out of that space,
Yeah,
which we can't predict ahead of time. But a lot of dogs end up being more comfortable with a way to
in a
walk
different,
away from that kind of night waking and stimulation.
yes,
And it's just easier for everyone to have that plan ahead of time, like you said. And
yeah,
then there's one last piece, which is, when you look at sleep, it changes. So when you're dealing with a toddler or a preschooler, that don't take a chance, prepare in advance really comes into the idea of what happens when your toddler or your preschooler is coming into your room at night or needs care at night, needs help. You don't want them tripping over a dog sleeping or accidentally stepping on your dog or having something like that happen. So you really, really want to think through what sleeping arrangements look like and how they might evolve as your baby grows and changes.
Exactly. And we always are thinking 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and even a year ahead of time, and looking at what might help and trying to set up, situations that can grow with the needs of the family. So don't take a chance, prepare in advance is our tip for today. I'm Jen.
I'm Bethany.
Thank you for listening.